invitation email. So one important thing I wanted to remind everyone is that it would be really helpful if you could complete the email, complete the staff enrollment form, excuse me, at the completion of the session. So this is critical with helping us to keep track of participation while doing the virtual programming. If there are any questions on how to do this, please feel free to reach out to one of us. Our email will be included at the end of the presentation, but you should also find it within the invitation email sent as well. Or Lauren has some already, so that will work. She can always forward them to us as well. So either way is fine. We will be sending out the continued ed certificates upon completion of today's session. All right. So moving on. Now, I quickly wanted to mention that if you have questions at any time during the presentation or have a response to questions we may present during this time, you can type these in the chat box at the bottom of the screen. And if you don't see it right away, you may need to hover your mouse over the area to bring up the tab. And we'll do a bit of a roll call. We mentioned this when we first were, everybody's logging in, but just in case I missed it with anybody that kind of came in a little on the later side, before we go too far, Sarah and I just need to have anyone in attendance or listening today just to enter your first name, last initial in that chat box I mentioned at the bottom. Also with your name, put the center's full name that you're with. So we know where you're coming from or who you're attached to as far as your center itself. This will help serve as sort of our attendance list and make it easier for us to track who is actually on the presentation, who we will need to send those continuing credit certifications or certificates to at the end of the workshop. So thank you so much for helping us out there. So to get started, provide an overview, we're gonna, basically today's workshop will be about 45 minutes to an hour, give or take. The workshop is dedicated to helping you make your center a place where kids and adults have the opportunity to be active and have fun moving. Fortunately, you don't need much time or equipment or space. Activities can be easy, simple, low cost, and require minimal equipment. To begin, we review the physical activity recommendations for adults, and I'll add a couple more details. Then we'll go over the recommendation for screen time and active play for preschool children. We'll take a virtual activity break using one of the movement activities from the Eat Well Play Hard champion lessons. For the centers that have completed or are currently going through the programming, these would be included or found in your binders that we provided you at the beginning of programming. Then we'll talk about specific ways to build in active play for kids at the center, at home, and yourselves. Ultimately, we are all born with a love of movement and play. We can help foster kids' enjoyment to ensure they adopt an active, healthy lifestyle. And in the process, we can discover our own appreciation for being active and improve our health as well. So we'll kind of start here. We'll start it off with showing you a quick movement activity. This is the rainbow run. Basically, when you call out one of the colors of the rainbow, you run and touch or touch 3 things that are that color. This activity would also be great to try at home with children. You can use a rainbow picture, poster, or you can even take the time to create one during art or craft time that you could use for this example. And instead of running, you can use other movements like hopping, or you can skip 2, 3 things that are the color yellow, for example. But just a quick little activity to kind of help get people, yourself and kids moving.
There we go. All right. So for those staff members that participated in our Wellness 101 workshop, you may remember this, but I'll quickly review the 2 types of physical activities for everybody. So there's aerobic activities and muscle strengthening activities. So what do you guys think I mean by aerobic activities? It's usually like things that we do that make us feel tired, but they don't count as some things we can do. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the admitting people thing. Aerobic activity. Some things we think of that make us feel tired, but they don't count as a aerobic activity. Things, you know, typing on the computer, talking on the phone, just doing everyday things. It's not really, I mean, we feel like mentally tired from that, but it's not an aerobic activity. So aerobic activities are those in which you briskly move your large muscle groups like your arms and your legs. These activities make your heartbeat faster and are good for your heart and lungs. So running, brisk walking, bicycling, playing basketball, dancing, and swimming are all examples of those aerobic activities. Now, muscle strengthening activities provide even more benefits that are not found with aerobic activities. The benefits of muscle strengthening activities include increased bone strength and muscular fitness. And muscle strengthening activities can also help maintain muscle mass during like a weight loss time. If you're doing some kind of diet or workout program, that can help you to maintain that lean body mass. Okay. So there are different types of aerobic activity. There's moderate and vigorous. So moderate is where you can talk and while you're doing it, but you can't sing. Okay. So you're getting yourself sort of breathless, but not to the point where you can't talk at all. Vigorous is where you really can't talk at all. You're so out of breath that you can't say anything to the person next to you. Okay. And it might take a while. Like if you're starting out exercising, you know, you definitely want to start out doing more like moderate level stuff and then work up to the vigorous stuff, because it's harder. It's a lot harder to do the vigorous stuff. So it might take you a little while to build up the ability to do the vigorous activity, but it's definitely worth it. And it's definitely okay depending, you know, like how long it takes you. It's fine for it to take a while for you to do those vigorous activities. You have to go at your own pace. Okay. So for those who did do the Wellness 101 workshop with us before, we did talk about this at that point. Does anybody remember what the weekly recommended minimum amount of moderate activity is for adults? And you can type in the chat box. Okay. 40 minutes, 180. Got some different answers here. Yep. So we have 40 minutes, someone guessed, 180 minutes a week, 2.5 hours a week. Getting a lot of 2.5 hour answers a week, which is correct. So that is the correct amount that you should be getting every week, the recommended amount that you should be getting every week anyway. So that breaks out to be about 30 minutes a day for 5 days a week of moderate aerobic activity. So if you were to do like the vigorous activity instead, then you could cut that in half. It'd be about 1 hour and 15 minutes that's recommended for you, just because it's so much more difficult and your body's getting a lot more activity through that. You could also mix it up. You know, some days do the really vigorous and some days do the moderate. That's actually really good for you to do. Okay. And studies definitely show that doing both can help reduce risks for many diseases. Okay. Do you guys have any examples you want to feel free to put in the chat box of what you think muscle strengthening activities are? Yeah. Getting a lot of answers of lifting weights. Yep, doing ab exercises and core strengthening, boot camp type classes. Yep, push ups, sit ups. Yeah, absolutely, definitely, those are things that are muscle strengthening. You know, if you don't have weights around, you could also do things like just carrying heavy things at your house. You know, I know we're all kind of stuck inside our houses, so what we have is what we have. So if you've got, you know, some heavy, you know, like containers of any sort that you can fill with stuff, definitely you can do that. You could use like empty paint cans, fill those with things to kind of do some weights. You could also do things like heavy gardening, because that's really difficult for your muscles when you're really getting in there, digging, working out your biceps and triceps and everything, and your leg muscles too if you're pushing real hard. Okay. And definitely the person who added the push-ups, sit-ups, you know, pull-ups, those kinds of things that you can do at home with like no equipment, that's easy to do. And you can definitely do that. Okay. Does anybody remember how many times a week you should be doing your muscle strengthening activities? If you did the Wellness 101 workshop before? Got twice, 2 to 3 times. Yep, absolutely. That is correct. It's twice or 2 to 3 times a week that you should be doing your muscle strengthening activities. Okay. Okay. So it's best to spread your activity throughout the week and to be physically active for at least like 10 minutes at a time. So if you don't have like 30 minutes to dedicate to some kind of exercise, you can just do 10-minute bursts throughout the day. You know, take a short walk or something like that. Definitely, it's easy to do. And it's good to get up anyway, you know, if you're sitting at your desk, at your computer for a while, like your body's going to start to get a little too stiff from sitting that way. So it's good to get up and do stuff like that anyway. So definitely it's a recommendation, especially if you're short on time later for activity. And it makes it a lot more manageable to get that, you know, 2.5 hours a week if you're doing short bursts pretty frequently throughout the day. And definitely some activity is better than none. Any exercise offers some benefits, and all adults should avoid inactivity. So even if it's really light activity, it's still better than just sitting down and being still for most of the day. Okay. So some other examples of easy things that you can do every day, using stairs whenever possible, even if there's like an elevator or escalator, or even if there's not that much reason to go up or down to those different floors. If you're trying to take a break, using the stairs is a great one, because it's really going to get your heart rate working a lot more, a lot harder than if you were just walking like a flat course or something, or just walking in the hallway. Okay. Washing your car, washing your dog, doing stuff like that, you're being active and moving. So that's an easy thing for us to do. If you go to the grocery store, park farther away instead of, you know, circling the parking lot looking for that close spot. That way you're having to go and walk a lot further. If you're going to a mall or some sort, you know, when we're allowed to go again, definitely taking extra laps around the place is an easy way to do it too. And, you know, like if you have kids, or definitely if you're working with kids every day, just joining in on their active play and running around with them is a great way to be active as well. You can also stand while you're doing things instead of sitting, standing with your computer, standing while you're on the phone, things like that. That's really easy. It's easy for us to do. Taking your pets, your dog for a walk, and walking to people's desk instead of, shooting them an email or calling them. Just easy ways to get extra activity throughout your day. Okay. So we also included a handout titled 10 Tips Physical Activity at Home, Work, and Play in your email invitation. So you can check that out for more tips, okay?
All right. So why moving matters? Physical activity is just as important for health as eating well is. And physical activity isn't just fun for kids, it is fun for adults. I know sometimes it's hard and we're tired and we've got 10 million things going on, but we often feel better when we join in and when we are physically active. It can keep you feeling young, although some days I don't feel that way, but I do when I'm a little more active. People of all shapes, sizes, and abilities can benefit from being physically active. There is actually more and more research coming out showing how physical activity can positively influence even our DNA activity on a day-to-day level, which is kind of interesting, providing some protection against many chronic diseases that we may be inclined to develop based on our heredity. But overall physical activity can have a profound effect upon things like health, early death, so lowering your risk of early death, heart disease and stroke, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, of course, and various types of cancers, including colon and breast cancers, prevention of weight gain and weight maintenance. So after we have lost weight, to kind of keep that weight off, really helpful to maintain our physical activity, improved heart, lung, and muscular fitness. So keep our lungs healthy. There is a strong link to physical activity and reduced risk of depression. There really is a nice link between being active and brain health. So increased bone density or bone mineral retention, important for all of us as we age and become older. And also better sleep quality is a benefit for all of us when we're more physically active. Remember that physical activity is important for children too. I think we all know that, but physical activity helps children sleep better, learn, grow, and relax, be happy, more energetic, and feel fit and confident. So it reduces their risk of becoming overweight, along with other diseases that we're starting to see in younger ages. It also helps them develop and maintain strong bones. Children love to move and have fun, so physical activity gives them an outlet to do so. You might catch some of the children's enthusiasm and find that you're having fun just being active with them, doing those activities. So now, other benefits, physical activity helps children stay at a healthy weight, not just in childhood, but also those habits, moving young, starting these things young. It's important to kind of instill that love of movement while they're at that age, because in adulthood, you hope that physical activity will help them continue with weight maintenance. So those habits learned younger can hopefully last a lifetime moving forward. So helps children develop motor skills, build their strength, flexibility, and endurance, and develop and maintain strong bones, just like they kind of help to maintain stronger bones as we get older as well, to help kind of keep the bone structure we have in place as adults. Same thing with children. As they're growing, that activity helps to strengthen their bone structure as well. So improve social skills and brain development, helps children feel confident about themselves and their bodies, reduces children's risk of feeling stressed or depressed, helps children with sleeping better, which we already mentioned as well. So lastly, children who are active, you'll see children who are active tend to have fewer behavioral and disciplinary problems. They do better in school and have longer attention spans in class.
All right. So it's important for us as adults to be role models for the kids. So participating in and enjoying the physical activity with them is very important. And even if you have certain physical limitations, you can definitely still, be a cheerleader, and cheering them on from the sidelines is very important. They're getting that affirmation that even though you can't maybe participate fully, you definitely are encouraging that behavior and helping them to move forward with developing those lifestyle habits. Okay. So these are the recommendations. I'm sorry, hold on a second. My dog is going crazy. All right. Oh, there's another dog barking outside, so that's why he's going crazy. Okay. So how much active play should kids get? The recommendation is at least 2 hours total, 1 hour being adult-led active play and 1 hour being free play. So, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm pretty sure you guys know the difference between those. Adult-led is like activities where, you know, you are having like a structured type activity with the kids and leading something, some kind of specific activity, like the ones that we do in Eat Well, Play Hard, if you've been through our program before. And then free play is where you're just letting them go, you know, maybe outside or, you know, whatever, letting them just kind of do whatever they want and having fun, you know, no structure to it at all. So in childcare, if you don't have, obviously most of you don't want to do like a full hour of play at a time. So it's definitely recommended that you break these up into segments of 15 minutes for each type of play. So actually, it's also shown that 10 to 15 minute bouts of active play is recommended. It helps kids, you know, be able to focus better on other tasks, you know, if they're getting those short bursts between things. So, okay. There's also a handout that we gave with the email. It's the physical and activity screen time guidelines for preschools and childcare. So you can definitely look at that for more info on the recommendations. Kind of talked about the differences already. Let's see. Some examples of, let's see. Yes, some examples more of going outside and doing that free play. That would be, you know, playing on the playground if you've got one, going on the swings, the slides, doing all that kind of stuff, pushing different toys and things around. If you're stuck inside, there's definitely ways to get kids to be doing things inside and outside. But definitely outside, we want to really highlight as much as you can be outside is the best. Obviously, you know, there's a large part of our winter where we're kind of stuck inside. There's a lot of snow out there, so you got to do what you can. But whenever you can be outside, it's great for the kids because they can get that breathless play. Okay, so it's like what we were talking about with the vigorous activity where they're playing so hard that they really can't catch their breath. That is actually really good for them to get. Okay. So the recommendation for total time outside for toddlers and preschoolers is 60 to 90 minutes for every 8-hour day. So that's like 20 minutes every 3 hours that a kid is in care, or about a third of the recommended amount of total playtime. So outdoor playtime, like I said, it can be broken up too if you don't want to do the whole thing in one block, or you can do bouts, like I said, of like 20 minutes or something. So it's also good for you as adults to be out there. If you're in the childcare setting, if you guys go outside, then you guys get a little bit of a break. You get to go out there, be in the sunshine, get the fresh air. That's really good for us too. Exposure to natural light can boost your mood and make you more creative. So it's definitely important for not only just, you know, getting out there to have room to move, but also for other things. So Besides taking kids outside, you can increase active time by cutting down on inactive time that doesn't contribute to the children's or your well-being. So it's okay for preschoolers to have some quiet time, obviously, during the day, but it's better if they're doing productive activities and not having that inactive, unproductive time. Okay, so you want them to be doing things like reading or socializing or doing things like that, and not just sitting there like looking at a screen. So that's what we're going to more talk about, is the inactive time. So what kind of examples do you guys think of when you think of like inactive time and unproductive time for kids? Mm-hmm. Yep, we've got watching movies, playing video games. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Screen time, yeah, just screen time. Any screen time is really going to be unproductive. Mm-hmm. Yep. Cell phone screen time, yeah. If they're, you know, sitting on a phone, definitely they're not really doing much. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Excellent.
All right. So before I get started, sorry to pause it for a minute, but I did notice with some of the entries for, we asked at the beginning for you to enter your name, first name, last initial, and just your center you're from. So I know some of you mentioned maybe your title, but it would be helpful if you could put in, like if you're, you know, from what school, your actual school name. It'll just help us keep track of which centers we're providing this to. So if you just put your title like program director or, you know, aid or whatever it is, just try to, if you could, maybe add your center that you're coming from as well. And if I missed that, we'll go back through it, but thank you so much. So to get back on topic here, what's constituting too much screen time? So on average, 2 to 4-year-olds spend almost 2 hours and 20 minutes a day with screens, and less than 30 minutes reading or being read to. It's kind of surprising. So next slide. Why limit screen time? Okay, so effects of too much screen time on children. Children who spend more time watching TV are more likely to be overweight or obese. They are not only inactive when they watch TV, but they're also exposed to commercials for junk food or candy or soda. And research has consistently and strongly linked overweight and obesity with screen time in both children and adults, so not just kids. The strongest association is with television viewing, but screen time can take time away from other developmentally enriching activities. So when kids are in front of a screen, they are not exploring, they're not playing, they're not reading or solving problems, they're being creative or even socializing and interacting with other people and family. Which helps to develop other skills, clearly. So all these activities are good for growth and learning. Young children learn best when they are actively exploring and interacting with their environment, not a screen. But too much screen time is also linked to lower literacy rates for children of all ages. Research shows that for every hour 8 to 16-month-old children spend watching baby DVD or videos, they learn 6 to 8 fewer words compared with children who do not have any screen time at all. Children with less screen time in the early years do better in school, tend to eat a little healthier, and are more physically active. But cutting back on screen time is good for adults too. You might find that when you spend too much time in front of a screen, you're more tired, or you tend to eat more mindlessly. I know I've done that in the past. You just kind of shoving something in your mouth while you're entertained on the screen, and you tend to be less active, of course. By cutting back on screen time, you may find that you have more time to spend enjoying the outdoors, or being active, because that's something we can do even now. We're kind of in our houses, we can get outdoors at least, and be active in that way. Maybe not in the ways we were prior to this, but there are plenty of other ways we can kind of get moving outside and around us. Okay, so the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends no screen time for infants or toddlers under age 2, but no more than an hour of high quality programs like commercial-free educational programming per day for children ages 2 to 5 years. And avoiding having TV in the child's bedroom, of course, or turn it off during meal times. This will help the child to spend less time overall from day to day watching TV. So how many of you think that children you care for watch? I mean, in your childcare when you're having children, or even in your own home, watch at least an hour or 2 of TV at home. Anybody have some guesses or some ideas of maybe how many of you children you think will you care for at your childcare center? If you think that a great deal of them watch at least an hour or 2 or more. Anybody have any input on that end? I'll wait for a minute. Some responses. I don't know if I can see them. Almost all our kids, yeah. Good point. I think in a lot of centers, that's probably a common answer. A lot more children than you'd like to see, I suppose. Watching it. All right. But good answers. Yeah. So more children, I think, than a lot of teachers, as you guys as a whole would like to see happen, and likely takes place at home as far as the hours of TV activity in the household. So, all right. So moving on, most children that are watching TV too much outside of childcare already. So we've kind of discussed that and covered that. For this reason, it is recommended that children have no more than 30 minutes of screen time per week while in childcare. I think a lot of centers I've been into, at least with you guys, are definitely following that. So that's covered. But reading aloud to children or having older children read aloud to younger children is a great alternative to TV. The nutrition and movement activities in the Eat Well Play Hard program and lessons, they're good alternatives for ideas if you're looking for that sort of thing. That if we have been in your center already providing programming, there's a lot of extra information in those binders. So can any of you share some ways you can limit screen time either in childcare settings or at home? We'll go over some examples, but maybe you guys have some really good ones you could share with all of us. There's a good comment from Melissa. Families seem to think now that screen time is okay as long as it is educational. And that's a good point, because it's still not the same. It doesn't take the place as having one-on-one interaction with families with other children. So that is a good point. It doesn't mean that it's good to continue on hours and hours on end with little ones, but some good comments there. So I'll provide some suggestions here for ways to limit, childcare as far as screen time in childcare settings or at home. Removing the TV. I don't know how practical it is for everybody, but you could also cover the TV with a sheet or blanket so that it's visually not there. Maybe children ask for it if they see it, because they know what it can do and they know what it can provide. It can help children stay focused. If you use TV for background noise, or keep it off and use a music player instead. Better yet, have a dance party or form like a little dance and conga line to music that might be played on the TV. So all some ideas to sort of distract from having to use TV, if that is an issue, more so probably at home. But it is helpful when a center has a written policy regarding screen time. It is also important to encourage families to limit screen time as much as you can, which I know you guys are already doing, so they can have more screen-free fun together. So this poster, Have Screen-Free Fun, is included in every Eat Well Play Hard toolkit, but we've also sent it with the other handouts to print out or have on hand in case we haven't been to your center yet. So display it where parents or caregivers will see it. You know, by doing so, you demonstrate your commitment to children's health by reducing screen time and promoting healthy alternatives.
Okay, so I'm gonna do like a little demonstration of like one of our Eat Well Play Hard movement activities, so you guys can get an idea of, if you haven't done our program before, you can get an idea of what we do. And it's something easy that you can do in your classrooms and at home too with your own kids. You know, if you're kind of bored looking for ideas, there's some easy ways to be active right in your home that requires no equipment really, and just a little bit of space. So just gonna, so this movement activity was included with your email invitation. So it's called the high, medium, and low activity. So you can look for that if you want like a visual cue card to do this yourself at home. Okay, so it's really very simple. What we're gonna do is do some basic movements and change, you know, our positioning to make it less or more difficult. So if you have space and you want to get up and move with me, that's great. So I'll start off over here by just marching high, which would be on my tiptoes. So it's a lot more difficult when you're on the tips of your toes, you know, trying to do the marching. You can make yourself go faster, do the marching. You can do it medium, which would be like on your regular standing feet. And you can do it, this one's really hard for a lot of people. You can do it low, where you're kind of bent all the way down to the ground trying to pick up your feet. And I have to say, when we do this in the classrooms with the kids, they have a lot of fun changing their positions, and they get really tired really fast from doing this kind of thing. So other things you can do are, you know, skipping. You can run high, run low, do whatever you want. You could jump, okay? And there's a bunch of other suggestions on that high, medium, low cue card that was included too, okay? Okay. So the main idea is for your physical activity in your daily routine to be simple, brief, and fun. Make it stuff that you like to do, because otherwise you're not going to want to keep doing it. Okay. So some other examples of things that you can do that are easy and simple. Again, if you've done our program, you can do any of the movement activities, okay, that are provided in the binder. And they're all really simple and require just a little bit of space, like I showed you. Okay, you can have kids act out a story with you as you read it, which is something we also do in our program. Let's see. You can encourage kids to move around the room like different animals or different vehicles, you know, like a plane or a boat or a train. You could use props to help kids move around and identify shapes, colors, and numbers. You could mix up the usual hokey pokey game and head, shoulders, knees, and toes with some kind of dance party or obstacle course. And no, my favorite is having them pick up their own toys, because I know usually a lot of times that's really difficult. So having them moving around, picking things up and helping you clean up is great. They learn, you know, some responsibility, and it helps you out so that you don't feel so stressed out that, oh, I have to clean everything up. You know, have them help you do that. You can play classic games like hopscotch, leapfrog, hide and seek, follow the leader, and other ideas that you can think of. If anyone has any suggestions, you can go ahead and type it in the chat box if you'd like. Yep, just dancing. Absolutely. All right. Okay. So some other things that like are more geared towards just adults. So if you guys are sitting there and you're getting really stir crazy and being in your houses all the time right now, I have some free sites that you can check out to get some videos that you can work out with at home. Okay, so the ones at the top here are free, the fitnessblender.com and the sweatybetty.com. Those have a wide variety, I would say, from what I checked out there. They have all kinds of videos, things that you can do like cardio workouts, you know, the aerobic type activities. They have muscle strengthening videos on there of all different kinds. You can work out just your arms or just your legs on there. And they've got, you know, like yoga type things, all kinds of stuff. And they range from really easy to really hard. And they range in time as well, like 10-minute videos to like 90-minute videos. So you can choose whatever you like and make it work for you and your schedule and your tastes. Okay. You can also just check out YouTube and look up a lot of different stuff on there. And there are also a bunch of programs that you could pay for if you wanted to, like Beachbody, Athlean, T25, and P90X. Those are all just things you can buy, like their DVDs and things, and have them on at home that you can do. But they tend to be a lot more difficult. Sometimes there are ones that are a little easier that you can do with those, where they modify it, make it easier for you. Mm-hmm. So I definitely encourage you to check out, you know, like I said, if you're getting stir crazy and bored at home, check out some of those places. Okay. On this slide, you see a bunch of just like household type items. So what activities can you guys think of to do with all these all these items with kids? Yeah. Frisbee with paper plates, absolutely. Ball up socks and toss them to a basket, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, like your own at-home basketball, like you're saying. Mm-hmm. Yep. Playing catch. Mm-hmm. Building a fort. Oh, that's a great one. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Those are some great ideas. Mm-hmm. Some other ideas, you can do balancing with a lot of these things, like your paper plates. You can have them balance them on their head and walk around with them. You can do, you know, depending on how much room you might have, you can do like, you know, kicking of the balled up newspaper. So it's kind of like a soccer type thing. Mm-hmm. You could do, let's see. If you have some tape, you can make like a hopscotch type square or some kind of like balance beam type thing where they have to walk that straight line with things on their head. And just having children hop and jump and leap from like item to item, they could do that too. And included also in your email, there was a handout on healthy tips for active play. So that's got a lot of more great ideas for you guys to be active at home. Okay. So as a center, it's your responsibility to provide opportunities for activity. And that means bringing children outside to play, except when the weather's bad, and also providing active play indoors like we talked about. And it's also your responsibility to make sure that children are always closely supervised to keep them safe, of course. as you guys are well aware. And make sure there's also plenty of water available for children to drink after their active play. Definitely, especially if they're outside in the sun getting sweaty, they're going to need to replenish that water. And look out for any signs of, dehydration or things like that. If they've been really active, make sure there's water. So again, we talked about what your roles are, and then it's the child's responsibility to choose how or if they'll participate in activities. We don't ever want to force kids to join in, but we want to encourage it as much as possible. And most kids aren't going to really say no. Most of them want to play and do things like that. So no matter what your position at your center is, you can project a positive attitude about moving and about your body and serve as a role model for children. Child care center staff have a tremendous influence on child's habits and attitudes towards food and physical activity. As I'm sure you're well aware, they tend to pick up a lot of things from us, and you, especially if you spend every day with them. So involving them in the movement activities that we kind of talked about and encouraging them to try healthy foods is very important. So the environment that you create in your child care center can help lay the foundation for a lifetime of healthy habits and can influence you and your families as well to be more healthy and active.
All right, so we have now when it comes to making healthy meals and snacks with children, this can also be a really easy way to not only get everyone up and moving in the kitchen itself, but also involving younger ones in cooking activities can have a positive influence on their eating habits in years to come and their connection with food. And so for this staff workshop, we wanted to do a quick recipe demonstration for you all. One that would be budget friendly and it's really actually really tasty. So try it out. It's really easy to have children help you with this one to prepare it. And the recipe is also one of the handouts that was sent to you earlier in that email. So we'll kind of give that a play for you here. Uh-oh. Can everybody hear it?
Sorry about that. Let me see what's going on. Stop. Oh, you know what? I think that everyone's gonna have to unmute to themselves to hear this. I think that was a problem I had when I tried to play a video before. So why don't you try unmuting and then we'll go.
Here comes.
Yeah, right. Well, I had stuff ordered on Amazon, the decorations, like 100 pieces for $8. They won't get something.
Okay.
I may have happy birthday stuff in the back.
I could just go to Dollar General. I know they have. I really,
If we're all unmuting to make sure that we're not talking, guys, so we can hear the video. Ready?
Oh, I'm actually unmuted on.
Did everybody hear it? Or no? Still not yet.
No.
No. Okay. Sarah, you want me to try sharing it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, cool. I'm gonna try it. Sorry, guys. Get this away.
And you might need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear it now? Can you hear it? Can everybody hear it?
No. No.
Can't hear it.
Nope.
No.
No.
Well, maybe this won't work then. It's a mess. All right, hold on a second. Let me try one more time. Here. All right, we should be good now. Let's try it. Can we hear it?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Angela with Eat Well, Play Hard and Child Care Settings. And today I'm joined in the kitchen with my son Liam and my daughter Eva. And we are going to prepare for you today a recipe that is green bean and corn stir fry. So what you need for this recipe, now I have the original recipe here because I don't need to make quite as much. So I have about a half a cup of frozen corn. You could use fresh corn, or if you have canned, you can drain it and use that instead. That would be no problem there. I have about 2 cups of green beans, fresh green beans, and you'll need about a tablespoon of green onion or scallions, a clove of garlic, and about a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of honey, and then a tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce. All right, so move those right here. So now before we get started, before any of us get started with cooking, what are we going to do first?
Wash our hands.
Wash our hands. Good, good, good. All right, we'll get started. We get everybody some soap.
Use that soap.
Let's use this one. I this first one I grabbed. Got it? Everybody has a little, lather up really well. Just a liberal amount of soap, and you want to scrub up for 20 seconds to get everything nice and clean. And you want to do this before you prepare anything that you're going to fix for your family or yourself to eat. And it's a good chance to model good hygiene practices. So everybody should be a little hot. There you go. It's a little hot. So we'll go a little cooler. All right, we should be good. You guys rinse off here while I'm drying off. Get a big towel. You good? All right. A little warm, huh? All right. So now that everybody has clean hands, we're set. Thank you. Thank you. We'll lay those right here. Okay. So we can get started here. So what we're going to do is just to talk a little bit too about why it's important to have your children in the kitchen with you when possible. Doing the steps that are safe for children to do is that when they are involved with making family meals or making a healthy snack, they're just more likely to try something new, especially something with younger age group, or they're more likely to eat what it is you're fixing for the family meal. So now I think that I'm finally getting these gloves on here, a little hard with wet hands. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the green beans. Now you might find green beans that are untrimmed. These happen to be trimmed. They have a little tip at the bottom or a little pointy end. You can pinch that off. But these ones happen to be already trimmed. So an easy step for children to do is, I'm going to put this right in front of you. Actually, guys, wait a minute. What didn't we do first?
Wash them.
So the first thing we want to do is wash our produce. So here, thank you, Eva. All right, we're going to give this a good rinse off. Okay? Yes. Good. Got that clove in there too. Can't forget the garlic clove, right? All right. I think that's a good rinse. Put the garlic here. All right, we'll lay this back. All right, we're going to put this back over so that's ready for you guys to get started. So, what they're going to do here is, like I said, helping out in the kitchen with little hands, an easy task is breaking apart the green beans into bite-sized pieces that are a safe size, especially if you're serving this to younger children, that wouldn't be a choking hazard. So if you need them real small, kind of make them really small, depending on the age group you're working with. But you could also use clean safety scissors, child safety scissors to do this. If you're working with herbs, that could also be an option. So I'm going to get started on chopping the garlic and the green onion while my little helpers are busy with taking care of those green beans. So we'll take the garlic taken care of here. And I wanted to mention a technique to try here would be like a claw technique when you're trying to cut up anything. It's where your knuckles are sort of resting against the blade and your fingertips aren't out, so that there's less risk of you cutting yourself or injuring yourself while you're cutting anything. So just something to try and keep in mind, a little extra safety when it comes to prepping and cutting things. All right, so we have a good chop on that garlic. We're going to get going on the green onion. So you only need about a tablespoon here. And I think that's probably good. Now, if you don't have fresh garlic, or you don't have, we'll give the garlic a little more of a chop, or you don't have the green onions, the fresh scallions or green onions, you could use for the garlic powder, starting with like a half a teaspoon. And for the green onions, you can try like a half to quarter teaspoon of onion powder. That would work just as well as using the fresh. It'd be a different flavor, but also still really tasty. So you can use that and sprinkle that in while you're sauteing everything, which we will start up the heat underneath. We're going to move it to the side. And I didn't mention before, but I am using about 2 teaspoons of canola oil. If you have vegetable oil, that will work fine. Olive oil may not, it may be a little tricky with olive oil. The higher temperatures, whether you're cooking a stir fry at, may cause a little bit of smoking with olive oil, but you can give it a try if you have it. So how are those green beans coming? All right? Right up, good, okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a spatula here. I'm going to put, thank you, honey, the oil in, get that heated. These green beans look great. Thank you. Wonderful. Make sure those work. All right, move this out of the way. We're set there. another thing to go over when your children are in the kitchen is talk about what you're cooking with. If you're serving some new fruits or vegetables, talk about the colors, talk about where they grow, just to keep them engaged, get them a little more interested. Like, for example, do green beans grow above the ground or below the ground?
Above.
Above. You guys are good. All right.
Corn.
Corn. Does that grow above or below the ground? Above the ground. You guys are good. Now, so what we're gonna do is get, well, actually I think we'll start with the garlic and the green onions. We'll get those in there real quick. Yeah. All right, thank you, little helpers. We'll keep that right there, wait from the heat for a second. Thank you, honey. All right, we'll give that a quick stir. We're gonna just add the corn in there. If you're using frozen corn, you don't need to defrost it first. It should work out just fine. Thank you, Eva. And we're gonna add those green beans in there. Okay, so we're gonna give this a stir. Thank you. Now, while that's cooking, we're going to get started on the sauce. All right, I have a little bowl here. All right, here. You can measure out 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Another thing that's really easy for children to help with is measuring things. It helps them with their counting skills. It helps them keep busy while you might be doing something that they are unable to do, like chopping or, once again, stir frying. You got it? It's about a tablespoon, right? Okay. Thank you. Let's do about a half a teaspoon. I'll see that you hold, right? All right. Can you get that in there for me? We'll give it anything that drizzle in there. All right, and we'll give it a stir. Stir things around. You can use that. Stir it around a little bit. We'll stir this around. And some substitutions you can use if you don't have green beans. Say it's springtime, so maybe sugar snap peas would work. Those would definitely work. You can chop them off or leave them whole. Like I said, depending on what age group you're serving this to. Say you have some bell peppers. Colorful bell peppers would work beautifully in here. Thank you very much. So that's always an option. So this would taste wonderful either way. Now here is where a little earlier is where you could have added the dried powder if you wanted to use onion powder or garlic powder instead of the fresh ingredients of the garlic or the fresh green onion. You could add this, sprinkle this in now. So we have the soy sauce and then a little bit of the honey. Just a little bit there. We'll do this. That's all right. We're going to add this in. You'll hear a nice little sizzle. Okay. And that's good. That's what you want to hear. And we'll give this a stir. All right, that's smelling good. Now, if you want, if your family likes green beans that smell good, a little bit more well cooked, you can stir this a little longer. Or if you like your vegetables a little crunchy, which our family tends to prefer, cook it a little less. All right, I think you can't wait, huh? All right, I think we're good. Everything is kind of coated here. So I'm going to turn the heat off, and we'll get this plate. I'm going to move this over here just to keep the heat away from me. All right. There we go. It looks and smells delicious, right?
Get the pan.
The pan won't fit on.
Now let us try.
All right. You try? Oh. I can't resist. I'm going to have to try too.
We're gonna run away with it. Good taste.
All right.
Good taste.
It tastes good?
Good taste. It's one minute to eat the whole plate.
It is really good. Nice and crunchy. Really tasty. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe demo. It's a really budget-friendly, quick, tasty, and really well-liked side dish. But see, they're already taking off with it, so it's that good. So this presentation was brought to you by USDA, SNAP Ed, and Cornell Cooperative Extension of Oneida County. And we'll find that dish they ran off with. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. So sorry about the fiasco there of starting that off, but it should be good to go. So we'll try to wrap this up quickly for you guys. So we're pretty much at the end anyways. Let's see. Okay. So in closing, I just want to mention that this workshop, again, was sponsored by USDA SNAP-Ed, an equal opportunity provider. And for more information, please visit the www.usda.gov. So I did include a slide here at the end with our, our email addresses and contact information. But if anyone has any questions at this time, feel free to enter them in the chat box below for Sarah and I. Be happy to answer them. Or if you want to ask them later, you can always email us. Either way is fine. So just check here just to see. Good, I think we should be good. All right, so thanks so much, all of you, for participating in this virtual workshop. And it was nice to see all your faces. And please remember to complete the staff enrollment form. If you haven't already, email it back to either Sarah and I or Lauren, and if you haven't already done so. And if you haven't put your name in as far as your first name, your last initial, and your center you're from, just add that in now if you can before you leave. But contact us anytime if you have any questions or comments. And thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. And thanks again for joining us. All right, take care and be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.